Welcome to a brand new deep dive. I want you to take a second and just picture the workspace
hmm
of someone who is building this massive, sprawling empire.
Oh, yeah, like the ultimate CEO setup.
Right. If you're like most people, you're probably visualizing this uh, enormous physical footprint, multiple desks, walls completely covered in blueprints,
hmm
massive whiteboards, maybe like 3 or 4 oversized monitors glowing in some high-rise office somewhere.
Yeah, totally.
Because we're sort of conditioned to believe that the scale of a person's physical workshop, it just has to match the scale of their ambition, you know?
Right, which makes sense intuitively. But
Right.
today we are actually looking at source material that completely shatters that expectation.
It really does.
It forces a total recalibration of how we view productivity, because the sources we have today, they prove that the scale of your output is, well, it's no longer tethered to the physical footprint of your workspace.
Yeah, and we have our hands on something highly specific and honestly just fascinating today. It's a chat log, a literal chat log from the year 2026.
Mm.
And it captures this intense planning session between a human mentor named Murty and his AI assistant who goes by the name Little Bird.
Little bird, right?
Yeah. And they are like knee-deep in building a tech stack for a project called Gurukul 2.0. And their mission here is nothing short of monumental. I mean, they're designing a system to train 100 ex-Sachivalayam women with the ultimate goal of turning those students into trainers themselves.
Which, I mean, that represents this massive logistical and pedagogical mountain to climb. You aren't just teaching a skill at that point, you are building an entire decentralized educational infrastructure from the ground up.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because the way Murty engineers his digital life to accomplish this massive physical mission is, well, it's a masterclass in constraints.
Absolutely.
Before we can even touch on the curriculum or the software they use, we really have to look at the severe limitations he intentionally places on his hardware.
Yeah, the hardware constraint is basically the bedrock of this entire chat log. So Murty operates a fleet of 12 machines in total.
12 machines. That sounds like a lot at first.
It does, right? But he draws this very hard line in the sand with the AI. 10 of those machines are strictly, exclusively allocated for his students.
Right.
His entire personal productivity loop, the actual engine driving this whole Gurukul 2.0 initiative, it relies exclusively on just 2 everyday computers.
Just 2.
Just 2. He has an HP Mini Elite desktop at the office and an Acer laptop for when he's at home or traveling.
Mm.
And there are other devices lying around, like a Linux machine, but he completely refuses to bring them into his personal workflow.
Which is so funny to me because I love how the AI actually gets confused by this in the logs.
Yeah, it really
It has
does.
to correct its own memory banks, you know?
Mm.
Murty has to reinforce over and over that he only works on 2 screens. And his ultimate goal with those 2 machines is to create what he and the AI call a digital prism.
A digital prism.
Yeah.
That phrase perfectly captures the architecture he's trying to build, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, because think about it. A prism refracts light consistently, no matter where it sits. Murty wants a completely browser-only, operating system-independent workspace.
Okay.
So the objective is that when he sits down at the office desktop or, opens the laptop in a hotel room, his brain encounters the exact same digital environment. 0 variation.
It's like a fighter pilot jumping into a completely different model of aircraft, but requiring the instrument panels to be located in the exact same physical coordinates, right?
That's a great analogy.
Because muscle memory has to take over immediately. When you're moving at supersonic speeds, you cannot afford to spend 3 seconds looking for the landing gear switch. You just need to reach out and know the lever is there.
Exactly.
And to pull this off, the sources say they use Microsoft Power Toys, specifically something called Fancy Zones, I think.
Yeah, fancy zones. It locks in very specific screen layouts.
Right. And then they use Brave Sync to push settings and extensions instantly between the 2 computers. They even employ Chrome Remote Desktop to bridge them when necessary.
Right. And what's fascinating here is the psychology behind reducing that digital friction. By standardizing the layout and syncing the browser down to the micro level, he is eliminating all the tiny subconscious decisions that usually drain our energy.
Oh, for sure.
He never has to ask himself, where did I save that file? Or which machine has that bookmark?
But I have to play devil's advocate here for a second because is it actually possible to be completely machine agnostic and browser-based without eventually hitting a functional wall?
What do you mean?
I mean, if you limit yourself entirely to web apps, don't you sacrifice the computing power of heavy, native desktop software?
Well, that is the exact friction point that AI brings up, actually. And Murty solves it by using Windows virtual desktops to artificially partition his mind.
Okay, how so?
He isn't just relying on the cloud, right? He's separating his entire digital existence into discrete planes. For instance, he creates a hard boundary between his professional life, which involves really heavy financial day trading and running his virtual assistant academy, and his personal and spiritual life, which includes his Nath yoga practice and his podcasting.
Oh, wow. So the digital prism isn't just about making the software accessible from anywhere. It's about how the screen actually presents itself to his nervous system.
Yes, it prevents cognitive bleed. If you're attempting to write a deep philosophical essay on yoga, the last thing you want is a stock ticker notification flashing in your peripheral vision.
No, that would totally ruin the flow.
Exactly.
Mhm.
By building these perfectly synced separate virtual desktops, his spiritual work literally never bleeds into his trading work.
Cognitive bleed. That is a brilliant way to phrase it. So he's built this perfect distraction-free digital bubble.
Mm-hmm.
But, building a sealed bubble inherently creates a massive bottleneck.
Yeah.
How do you get the knowledge out of that isolated environment and into the minds of 100 novice students?
That is the big question.
Yeah, and the chat logs show Murty shifting all his chips to focus on a specific location called the Arikirevula branch. He's actually physically withdrawing from something called the B-Tech Academy and consolidating his efforts at a base in Cover to run this Antaryami VA Academy.
Huh.
But before we get into the tools he uses to teach, we really need some context on the students themselves.
We do, yeah.
The sources mention these are ex-Sachivalayam women. For anyone listening who isn't familiar with that term, what exactly does that mean, and why is this demographic so crucial to his mission?
So the Sachivalayam system refers to this massive decentralized village secretariat initiative in Andhra Pradesh, India.
Sure.
It was designed to bring government services directly to the local level. So women who have a Sachivalayam background, they already possess a ton of administrative experience, civic engagement, and a foundational understanding of local logistics.
Oh, it's huge.
It is. However, they might lack exposure to global, cutting-edge digital workflows. So by targeting this specific group, Murty isn't just teaching a random subset of people. He is upskilling individuals who already know how to navigate complex bureaucratic systems.
Right, they aren't starting from zero.
Exactly. It's a massive socioeconomic lever. If you teach these women to be trainers, they have the local roots to create this massive ripple effect in their communities.
That completely reframes the scale of what he is doing. He is basically turning local administrators into global digital educators.
Yeah.
But the kind of knowledge Murty possesses isn't easy to transfer. The AI describes his skill set as having Nadi-level expertise,
Nadi-level, yes.
which implies a mastery that is so deeply intuitive, it borders on the subconscious.
Right.
Think about when you first learned to drive a car. You had to actively think about checking the mirror, hitting the blinker, pressing the brake. But now, you just drive,
I
right?
don't even think about it.
Exactly. If someone asked you to write a manual on how you drive to the grocery store today, you would probably forget to include checking the rearview mirror because your brain just does it automatically.
And that phenomenon is called the curse of knowledge. Experts make terrible teachers because they skip steps. They operate on intuition, and intuition is almost impossible to document manually.
Well, here's where it gets really interesting to me. To bypass that curse of knowledge, the AI suggests deploying automated documentation software. Specifically, a browser extension called Tango.us.
Yes, Tango.
It acts like a digital ghostwriter. While Murty does his complex workflows, say setting up a financial chart or formatting a document, the software silently sits in the background, watches every single mouse click, and automatically generates a step-by-step written SOP complete with screenshots.
It's incredible. It completely flips the traditional model on its head.
Does it? I mean, doesn't that make traditional documentation entirely obsolete?
Pretty much. We are moving from the era of creating documentation to the era of documenting creation. Murty never has to stop working to type out some tedious instruction manual.
Right.
The software captures the reality of the work rather than the expert's flawed, skipping over the details memory of the work.
Which means the fidelity of the instruction handed down to those 100 women is basically flawless. They also use Loon for these quick 5-minute video bridges and Canva Translate to instantly convert English training materials into Telugu.
And he manages to keep his specific Nath yoga branding intact while doing all of that translation.
Right, so you have this hyper-localized, globally powered curriculum. But the curriculum isn't just software tutorials. The sources show Murty using ClickUp whiteboards to map out lessons on Arshadharma.
Yes.
Again, stepping into the shoes of the listener, we really need to decode this. How does an ancient concept like Arshadharma fit into a 2026 digital tech stack?
Well, Arshadharma generally refers to the ancient righteous path or duties laid out in Hindu philosophy.
Okay.
Within the chat log, Murty is specifically using these ClickUp whiteboards to visually map out the progression of life stages. From brahmacharya, which is the student phase of learning and discipline, all the way to sannyasa, which is the final stage of total renunciation and spiritual focus.
Wait, really? He is literally using Silicon Valley project management software to build a curriculum around ancient Vedic life stages.
He is. And furthermore, he organizes his student cohorts based on their astrological roles.
Oh, way.
Yeah, he drops specific zodiac signs, like Cancers, into dedicated teaching cohorts. The technology is entirely subservient to his pedagogical and cultural philosophy.
Okay, so we have a highly customized, deeply philosophical curriculum being generated by automated ghostwriting tools. But creating the architecture for this requires a level of intense, unbroken focus that brings us to, honestly, the most extreme part of this entire chat log.
Oh, you mean the schedule?
Yes, Murty's daily schedule.
It is a routine that most people would find completely unsustainable.
For sure. The AI explicitly refers to Murty's primary work windows as monster sessions. He is awake and operating at maximum cognitive output every single day from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m.
Yeah.
I mean, staring at screens in the pitch black of the early morning introduces a massive physiological toll.
Which is exactly why the AI emphasizes the need for intense physical and mental protection. They actually refer to these protocols as session shields.
Session shields. Let's look at the mechanics of these shields, because during these 2 a.m. sessions, Murty isn't just like reading casual articles. He is analyzing complex financial metrics using high-intensity TradingView charting tools for an entity called Excelligent Services.
Right, which is visually intense.
Highly intense. So to mathematically reduce the eye strain of these blinding white websites in a dark room, he forces a true dark mode across his entire browser using specialized extensions like Dark Reader. And then for his mental environment, he uses lifeat.io, which is basically these browser-based virtual rooms, to pipe in artificial lo-fi music and temple chants paired with aggressive focus timers.
Right, Pomodoro timers.
Yeah. And to break up the intense analytical work, he relies on a tool called Write.Dot as for distraction-free writing and Insight Timer Web for guided meditations.
And his ultimate goal with that meditation is reaching a state of samadhi, a really profound level of meditative consciousness.
Right. And I have to admit, when I first read this, my immediate thought was that he is building a sensory deprivation tank out of browser extensions. I mean, is isolating yourself this extremely actually sustainable for a human being?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, we have to analyze the cognitive load he is attempting to balance here.
Okay.
On one side of the pendulum, you have financial day trading and Bitly linked data tracking, right? That is an environment driven by cortisol, risk assessment, and rapid analytical thought.
Oh, totally. High stress.
High stress. On the complete flip side of that, you have the pursuit of samadhi. That is an environment requiring total stillness, spiritual depth, and complete detachment.
Man, bridging that gap at a 2-hour window at 2 a.m. sounds like psychological whiplash.
Precisely. And that is why the concept of session shields is so vital. They aren't just about preventing a headache or eye strain, they act as cognitive armor.
Cognitive armor.
Yeah. At 2 a.m., the physical world is completely silent. By controlling the light emission of his screens and piping in specific acoustic environments, he isn't isolating himself, he is insulating himself. He is artificially controlling the atmosphere so his brain can safely execute that massive pendulum swing from high-stress finance to deep spiritual meditation without shattering.
Insulating versus isolating. That makes total sense. He needs that atmospheric control to generate this massive volume of complex work.
Exactly.
Which naturally brings us to the next massive bottleneck in the source material.
Right.
Once you generate all this highly focused 2 a.m. research, where do you actually put it?
Yeah, storage.
And this exact problem sparks a rather heated, direct debate in the sources between Murty and the AI regarding digital storage.
It really highlights the classic tension in knowledge management, honestly, the battle between capture and retrieval.
Yeah. Murty actively challenges the AI's recommendation here. He basically asks, why should I use a lightweight bookmarking tool like raindrop.io when I already have a massive, powerful database tool like Notion.so?
Right.
And for context for the listener, Notion is a behemoth in the productivity space. It can do almost anything. So Murty's hesitation is completely justified.
Oh, absolutely.
So what does this all mean? Aren't we just adding another tool to avoid learning how to use the first tool better? When does the tech stack become the distraction?
This raises an important question, but the AI's defense of adding raindrop actually breaks down to speed versus structure.
Speed versus structure, explain that.
Okay, so when Murty is deep in a flow state at 2:30 a.m., encountering a critical piece of research, friction is the ultimate enemy.
Right.
Loading a complex database like Notion, waiting for it to sync, and filling out multiple property tags,
Okay.
it completely breaks the cognitive spell. He needs a tool that captures the information in a single click, which is lightweight and fast, so he can just keep moving.
So speed of capture is paramount.
Yes. And the AI highlights a specific mechanical feature of Raindrop called permanent copy.
Oh yeah, the archive feature.
Exactly. If Murty saves a crucial article on astrology or trading, and that original website goes completely offline 3 years from now, Raindrop has actually scraped and archived the text and images forever on its own servers.
So it functions as an indestructible vault rather than just a fragile pointer to a URL that might break in the future, which is crucial for that legacy digital prism he's building.
Exactly. But the AI also brings up another fascinating integration called an MCP connection.
Model Context Protocol. Can you break down how that actually works in this specific ecosystem?
Absolutely. An MCP connection essentially gives the AI a direct pipeline into Murty's secure digital vault in Raindrop.
Okay.
So instead of Murty having to open the bookmarking app, search for a keyword, and scroll through hundreds of links, he simply types a message to his AI assistant in their chat window saying, "Pull up that trading methodology I saved last month."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the AI uses a protocol to reach directly into the Raindrop vault, retrieve the specific document, and drop it right into their conversation. The AI becomes the ultimate instantaneous librarian.
That is wild. And it completely validates the AI's recommendation for a hybrid approach.
It does.
Use Notion, the massive database tool, to build the deep structural curriculum, the 14 to 16-hour work logs, the complex Arsha Dharma roadmaps, but use Raindrop as the frictionless automated resource warehouse.
And this raises an important question about the fundamental difference between a builder's tool and a consumer's tool.
What do you mean?
Well, for Murty, constructing the system requires heavy architecture like Notion, but remember his ultimate end user.
The 100 ex-Sachivalayam limit.
Right, many of whom will be accessing this information entirely offline.
Oh, right. The sources mentioned the use of 4 terabyte Western digital backup cache.
Yes. So if you drop a tech novice student into a massive interconnected database like Notion, they might feel completely overwhelmed, or worse, they might accidentally delete a core structural component of the curriculum.
Right. Accessibility literally becomes a barrier to education.
Exactly. The AI argues that by pushing the student-facing resources into a clean, visual, easy-to-navigate student portal collection in Raindrop, you completely remove the intimidation factor.
That makes so much sense.
The complex database is the warehouse in the back where the inventory is managed, but the lightweight bookmark app is the clean, welcoming window display where the students actually interact with the knowledge.
The window display and the warehouse. That is the perfect analogy. And it really brings the entire concept of the digital prism full circle.
It really does.
True productivity, at least in the world of Gurukul 2.0, isn't about bragging about how many machines you run or how complex your software is. I mean, he have 12 machines, but only uses 2.
Right.
It is about radical intentionality. It's about knowing exactly when you need the deep, heavy structure of Notion and when you simply need the frictionless speed of Raindrop.
Because every single extension, every dark mode toggle, every virtual desktop, they're all deployed with a specific psychological or pedagogical purpose. The technology never dictates the mission for Murty. The technology is bent to serve the mission.
Completely. So to bring this all the way back to you, the listener, I want you to evaluate your own daily workflow.
Yeah, do a little audit.
Think about your real-life equivalent of the Arikirevula branch. You know, that top priority project of yours that deserves your absolute best unbroken focus. Are the tools you are currently using creating unnecessary friction? Or are you utilizing systems that act like a digital ghostwriter, effortlessly capturing your own intuitive Nadi-level expertise?
It is a vital audit, honestly. Are your tools insulating your focus, or are they constantly interrupting it?
And as you think about that, I want to leave you with one final lingering thought to just mull over on your own. It goes back to that idea of the permanent library in Raindrop.
Oh, yeah.
That indestructible vault of things you find important enough to save. If someone were to gain access to your digital bookmarks, your archived links, and your browser history right now, and look at them 50 years into the future. What would they deduce your life's true mission was?
That's a powerful question.
Because building an empire doesn't require a massive physical workshop anymore. It just requires a tiny desk, a couple of screens, and a digital prism built exactly for you.